Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel. Welcome to bonus weather video number 2 for this week, and it is a couple of days late. And I don't want any of you to worry about this at all, but probably about 30 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and I almost feel guilty telling people that because I know that for many people that have this, it is a daily battle, and for me, it has not been that at all. I get an infusion once every 2 months, and for the most part, this is kept very, very much in control. But I had a little flare-up beginning on Friday and ended up being in the emergency room on Saturday night. And now I'm being treated, and I think things are going to be getting better over the coming days. But I just wanted you to know why I couldn't get this out on Friday. And hopefully, like I said, things are coming around. I don't want you to worry about this, but I just wanted you to know why. So anyways, the topic for this week, or this video, is El Nino, and is it coming, and what does it mean for us? A lot of people think that it's a one-to-one correlation with an El Nino, and we're going to have a cold, snowy winter, but I think you're about to find out that it isn't quite that simple. All right, so here in a normal scenario, of course, here you're looking at the North America, South America, Central America, and then over here in Asia and Russia and so forth. So this is the tropical Pacific in here. And normally there are trade winds, same kind of trade winds we have in the tropical Atlantic that actually blow from east to west in the tropic areas, or tropical areas. And as a result, the warmest water in the Pacific is generally in the western Pacific, okay? That's a normal scenario. Now, during a La Nina, the trade winds are actually stronger, and I tried to show that, maybe not all that well, but I tried to show it by making those arrows a little bit longer. And so what that does is that it drives the warmest water even farther west into the Pacific. And along the coast of South America, when you blow blow water away from the coast, then you get what's called upwelling, because something has to come up from underneath to replace the water that's being pushed away. Well, the water is typically colder the farther you go down, and so cold water upwells along the coast of South America, and the result is that we have below normal water temperatures along the equatorial Pacific from, I guess about the central part of the Atlantic all the way to South America, okay, and that's called La Nina. Now, periodically, these trade winds actually weaken, okay? And when they weaken, then that pretty much shuts down the upwelling, and it allows the warmer water, which is usually pent up in the western Pacific, to move all the way to the eastern Pacific, all the way to the coast of South America. And through many, many case studies and research and observations and so forth, we have found that this has a pronounced effect on the overall weather patterns in all different parts of the world. It isn't something that's local just to where these changes are taking place. So, this is NOAA's forecast issued just a couple of days ago that there's a 56% chance of a strong El Nino, and there's actually several categories here of El Ninos. There's weak, moderate, strong, and very strong, okay? And so there's a 56% chance of a strong El Nino by next winter, and an 84% chance of a moderate El Nino. And when you take a look at some of the stats I'm about to show you, you may actually want to root for the moderate and not the strong, okay? Now, this is the effects of a typical La Nina. The jet stream tends to be farther north, and so it's dry, or drier than normal, across the deep south. And you'll notice that that purple color indicating the drier barely gets up into southern North Carolina. So it isn't like we're down in this region, deep into the drier. We're sort of on the boundary of that, okay? And the wetter weather tends to be in the Pacific Northwest and also here in the upper Midwest and the southern Great Lakes anyways. Now, the effects of the El Nino is that we have a much, much strong southern branch of the jet stream. And a lot of times in Southern California, this is when they get the really heavy rains and the mudslides and all this sort of stuff. Again, notice this green area here where it says wet extends up into coastal South Carolina and barely touches southeastern North Carolina. So when we talk about El Ninos favoring cooler and wetter weather in the south, we sort of assume that North Carolina is right in the core of that. It isn't, okay? And you can see that by this graphic here. And then west of the Appalachians, the pattern actually favors drier than normal weather. And even though it's cooler down in here, it's actually fairly mild, at least compared to normal, across much of the northern U.S. So I thought it would be fun to go back and take a look since 1980 at all the different El Niños, the weak ones, the moderate ones, the strong ones, and the very strong ones. So since 1980, there have been 4 weak El Niño episodes. 1 out of the 4 have been colder than normal. 2 out of the 4 have been wetter than normal. And 2 out of the 4 have been snowier than normal, okay? So it's 50% or less in all of these categories in terms of being colder than normal, wetter than normal, or snowier than normal. There have been 4 moderate El Niño episodes. 3 out of the 4 have been colder than normal. All 4 were wetter than normal, and 3 out of the 4 were snowier than normal. So there, you've got a 75 to 100% chance, at least based on the ones since 1980, of it being a colder, wetter, and snowier winter than normal. There have been 2 strong El Niño episodes since 1980. 1 out of 2 turned out colder than normal, 0 out of 2 wetter, and only 1 out of 2 snowier. And then finally, there have been 3 very strong El Niños, 82, 83, 97, 98, and I believe 2015, 2016. Only 1 of those 3 were colder than normal, all 3 were wetter than normal, and 0 out of 3 were snowier than normal, okay? When you look at all the episodes together, 6 out of the 13 were colder than normal, less than 50%. 9 out of the 13 were wetter than normal, and I think that's the strongest signature here, taking a look at the whole thing, is that when you have an El Niño, you are likely to be wetter than normal in the majority of cases. And then with respect to snow, only 6 to 13 end up being snowier than normal, just slightly less than 50%. I think that's my last slide. Yes, it is. All right, so in summary, an upcoming El Niño is not a slam dunk for it to be colder than normal or necessarily snowier than normal, okay? In fact, I do remember one case, and it was many, many years ago, where the winter forecast came out from NOAA, and they had a 70% chance of below normal temperatures in the southern Appalachians based on the upcoming El Niño, and it turned out to be not the mildest winter on record, but one of the mildest winters on record, okay? And I remember being very distraught because I was looking forward to a cold, snowy winter, and it didn't turn out to be anything like that at all. I think the precipitation was above normal, but the temperatures certainly were not below. And so I just want to caution you, if you're a winter weather lover and a snow lover, and you're salivating about this upcoming El Niño, you might want to temper that enthusiasm just a little bit, because there is no guarantee that it's going to turn out to be what you hope it's going to be. All right, that's it for now. That is bonus weather video number 2 for this week. Not much left of the weekend, but what there is of it, I hope you have a good one. And of course, the next daily weather update will be coming up tomorrow afternoon. So you all take care, folks, and we'll talk to you later.